The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome, everybody, for the second straight week. I'm the leadoff man on
Yeah,
Keefer and
baby.
Kurre. After having no original thoughts for like 6 months, Tony always had the onus of having to come up with a topic for the second straight week. I'm on board because a situation that I'm very passionate about, where Tony and I have talked about it before, but I don't remember if it was a whole show or if it just came up in the conversation. I think that's what it was. We were talking about sports being unaffordable for the average fan now, and not only the average fan, the above average fan who's for almost every regular person in the country. But now today, Tony, there is a suit being brought by the Department of Justice, and the defendants are Live Nation, who you're very familiar with, and Ticketmaster, and the government is going after them under the auspice of violating the Sherman Act because they control right now 85% of ticket transactions in this country. They are accusing them of being a monopoly. And if they are successful in this prosecution and the court rules with them, Ticketmaster and Live Nation will be broken apart, and this nefarious situation, which we'll talk about here, and we mentioned it recently on the Starting Lineup, our television program, the average ticket, Tony, to the Super Bowl, or not the Super Bowl, to the national championship game in college football in Miami this year, the average price for a ticket to that game was $6,800.
Ridiculous.
I mean, it's just outrageous. And here's the dirty little secret that I harp on all the time, and I know you've heard me say it a million times. The real nefarious part of that is that if you go to a minor league baseball game and you buy tickets through one of these agencies, there's a 20% fee on that. But if you pay $25 to go to this game, that's a $5 fee. That sucks. If you pay $5,000 for a ticket to go to the national championship game, it's still a 20% fee. It doesn't cost them 1 penny more to process a $5,000 ticket or a $25 ticket. But to do the math, a $5,000 ticket with a 20% fee, that's another, I mean, that's ridiculous.
$250. It's ridiculous. It's crazy.
And what if you buy 4 of them?
Oh my gosh.
That's per ticket. That's not for the whole transaction.
Yeah. I love this. I love this so much because I can go all the way back to 1991, 92. I remember spending 3 nights on the hard pavement outside a little place called the Magic Platter, which was a music store in Hoover. Was right down the street from Parisian, which was also a ticket. I think it was Ticketron, I think at the time. And we used to sit in line, and you spend 3 or 4 days in line. There were only about 3 or 4 Ticketrons in town. Parisian, Magic Platter, you had to be licensed to be one of those. And then if you were first or second in line, you had a great shot at getting in the first 5 or 6 rows. And then, of course, the other way you get tickets is obviously through the phone, and you would just reel out, and sometimes you got in. But if you were in line for 3 or 4 days, it was like Kentucky or North Carolina Duke. These kids that stand in line for tickets, which I love. You are almost assured to get decent seats. There's just like a million different ways I want to go on this. First of all, it is a monopoly. You can make the argument like, okay, we got StubHub. There's a million of them out there, right? SeatGeek. And you're thinking to yourself, how in the world are these guys getting their tickets?
They get control of every ticket.
Exactly. So how is that possible? So let's say that Kip Keefer's playing a concert in Birmingham, Alabama at the Coca Amphitheater. It holds 9,000 people, and tickets go on sale through Ticketmaster. Now, Ticketmaster, of course, is in bed with Live Nation, and that was the beginning of this erroneous, outrageous monopoly they have, because Live Nation not only owns radio stations, but they also own the artists who play in those radio stations. They also own the venues where those artists play. So if you are not on the Live Nation ticket, then you're not even going to play Live Nation amphitheaters or venues, which means you're not getting your share of where you want to play. And so then you end up playing rinky-dinky places. And so they have a monopoly there too.
Yeah.
So Eunice mentioned this number, what, 85%? So I'm sitting there saying, wait a minute. Well, and I see this thing, wait a minute, get last second tickets for 50% off.
Yeah.
Bullshit. If you've ever tried to do that, and I will use this as an example, I went down to the AAC tournament this past weekend. My son was in town. I love basketball tournaments. I love live basketball anyway. UAB loses the first round. That's fine. We still went down and checked out the next two games. It was great to see Tulsa in South Florida. We got to see some great basketball down there. And tickets were $31. Okay. $31. It was lower bowl, so and then with the surcharge, it was $74. They charged me $14 for two tickets. The crazy thing is, it says we left the second round games on Saturday. The women's championship game was Saturday night at 8:00, and if you left the second round, they gave you a free ticket to see the women's championship game for the AAC. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Weren't they just selling these tickets for $65 2 days ago?
Yep.
And now they're giving away free tickets. I would have been so pissed if I paid for a national or a championship game in the AAC. So, yeah, a lot of people are going, wait a minute, I don't even know how to get tickets anymore. Listen, a lot of people say, well, what's the big deal? We live in a capitalistic society. Just because, you love national championship football doesn't mean you should be able to afford to go. I've never been to a Super Bowl. I understand that. I would love to be able to go to a Super Bowl at some point in my time. The point is, though, is when you see emails between two Live Nation employees saying, hey, watch this. I'm about ready to charge this woman $250 to park. And they're laughing at us. That's the part.
And they've got that introduces evidence between two managers. These aren't like the people, in the control.
And they're still working there.
And the one guy, to your point, said, somebody had bought like 4 tickets and spent $17,000 or whatever, and I think to either the national championship or the Super Bowl, and he said, I just had somebody. It started off. Can you believe how stupid people are? They just spent $18,000. He said, you know what? Gouge, baby, gouge. That's how we roll.
And you got
evidence from Live Nation and Ticketmaster executives, crowing about and bragging about how stupid the patrons are. They're not stupid. There's just certain games that you just are willing to pay any price. That's why we saw the tickets go crazy in that Indiana-Miami game, because Indiana had never been anywhere near this status. Yeah. So there were people in Indiana that have waited their whole lifetime. They would have paid any price, but it's just absolutely criminal that you have an enterprise getting away with being able to gouge people. You saw Standard Oil get broken up in the early parts of the 1900s because they controlled completely. Not only did they own and refine every drop of gasoline in the country, they owned every major distributor. The Standard Oil Company had every gas station. You had the telephone company, invented, of course, the telephone by Alexander Graham Bell. It was Bell Telephone all of our childhood, but they absolutely controlled. There was no competition.
Well, and they knew that. When Henry Ford ended up buying the giant rubber plant place down in, where was it, down in Dominican Republic, wherever, and he went down and he's like, listen, I'm tired of paying for tires, right? So he decided to go ahead and buy this rubber plant farm. Brilliant idea. I mean, he think outside. You push the envelope as far as you possibly can. Ticketmaster, Live Nation / SeatGeek, whatever, because they're all in bed together. And you're probably asking the question as a person, well, how do these places get tickets? Because the minute tickets go on sale, like it used to be 10 o'clock every Friday morning.
Yeah.
Def Leppard's coming to town, 10 o'clock, Ticketmaster, get your tickets now, blah, 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 blah,
and that's why you waited in line. Because if you got up there at 10 after 10, you could get some great tickets.
Exactly. And now the minute it goes on sale, well,
those tickets aren't available.
2 days before they go on sale,
yes,
you can get on the Ticketmaster location or SeatGeek and StubHub, and they've already got tickets for sale before they actually go on sale because they've already been allotted their number of tickets, and that's going through Ticketmaster. They're saying, okay, you're going to get 30%, you're going to get 30%, you're going to get 30%, and I'm going to go ahead and take my share and do that. It is a true monopoly. They're all in bed together, and it sucks. It's horrible. The only pro I like about the way it's going now is if I truly want to go to a concert now, I
Oh,
can
you
go.
can get tickets. Yeah, that's exactly
I
right.
mean, if I want to sit front row for ACDC in Atlanta in August, I can get front row tickets. I will find tickets. Now, the way we used to do it, once the show was sold out, you had to
You
go
were,
down. You went down to the venue,
yep,
and you there's be some big black guy named Otis, and he'd be standing on the street corner, and he'd have his hands up. I got two. I got two. And
yep.
my son always said, "Wait a minute. Why is he asking to buy some tickets when he's already got two in his hand, Dad?"
Yeah, well,
And I said, "Well, it's because he's buying two, and then he's selling two to someone else." I said, "He's got a pocket full of tickets, but he's wanting to buy tickets cheap, and he's wanting to sell them upsell." And we all had our own guys. It was like drug dealers. We all had
oh
our own
yeah.
scalper guy. There was a guy in Tuscaloosa that I used to go through all the time. A great scalper guy would always take care of me and the son. We used to be able to go see an Alabama Florida game for $40 a ticket. It was great. Now that's an impossibility. So I hope, and listen, I've got lots of friends of mine that used to work for New Era and it worked for Live Nation. They know what they're getting themselves into. That's why they will no longer do shows with me or do anything on the air. And I love these people. I've known them for 30, 40 years. But this is something that's got to stop. And listen, the people that are really getting drudged through this are the artists themselves.
Oh,
I know there's been several situations where you can buy a ticket and you're the only one that's allowed to use the ticket that you buy. In other words, you can't put it on a resale
I am
value.
so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I bought tickets for a friend of mine. I got some connections in Las Vegas. This blew my mind last year. It was some artist I'd never heard of, but she was going to be in Las Vegas that weekend with her brother and sister, because the one sister lives in Henderson, right outside of Vegas. They wanted to go to a show at the Westgate, which used to be the Las Vegas Hilton. I had Clayton go in and buy the tickets. Well, actually, the way that worked was we actually got on some kind of preferred list that the casino itself had a group of tickets, and we were able to buy those through one of these agencies. I don't remember which one it was. It was SeatGeek or one of them, or it may have been traditional Ticketmaster. Bottom line was they would not let me transfer those tickets to my friend. I had to go, Tony, with my phone to the show that night. I happened to be in Vegas, but I had to walk in line with them and have them scan my phone so they could go to the show. I mean, that's ridiculous. I bought the tickets. I own the tickets. I should be able to give them to whoever I want, but they've got all these restrictions and all this BS going on. And that's another big factor now. What you described, going to games and hustling tickets for cardboard. They were in your pocket. They were in your hand. Now it's all electronic. There's no such thing. I can't tell you what just little hustlers we were in my high school years. We went to every hockey and basketball game. We'd go down there with like 10 or 12 bucks in our pocket. You know, we didn't have any money. We were high school guys. But we had this great thing where we'd stand out at the beginning of the walkway where people come down the aisle to go to the Omni, and we go, "Who's got extra tickets? Who's got extras?" And always there would be some schmuck who'd go, "Yeah, I got a couple extra." You know, and you'd say, "What do you want for him?" And he'd go, "Oh, you know, they're $18 tickets." I said, yeah, but nobody's going to pay face value because there's tickets everywhere out here. I'll give you $7 a piece for them. Okay. They just want to get rid of them so they can go in the building. We went to every game. We never missed a game. We wheeled, we dealed. We usually had enough to stop by the varsity and get chili dogs afterwards. Because
Baby.
we would buy enough tickets and then sell them to other people that didn't really know what was going on. So we'd buy 2 tickets for $14 and sell them to the next guy that comes along for 25. But that was just good old American commerce. You can't do that anymore. You can't hustle tickets anymore.
No,
because
the thing that's crazy too is I went to Publix yesterday. I realized that my calendar was 2025, right?
oh,
It was on the last month, right? And so I'm thinking, I need a new calendar. So I go to Publix yesterday, and I don't need any special calendar. I usually get one free from church, but I saw the calendars, and I got a calendar. It was $14.99. It was pictures of doggy puppies or something like that, puppy dogs.
Yeah,
Something like that. I thought my daughter would like it, right? So I go through the line. I'm like, wait a minute. This is on sale, right? And she said, it's $14.99. I said, I'm going to get a special deal on this, right? She goes, no, why should you? I said, it's March 16th. I'm only paying for 8.5 months
Yeah.
out of the year. And she said, well, I'm sorry. And I said, well, this calendar's obsolete. It's no good anymore. It's 3 months old. I said, you should be giving me this calendar, at least get it half price. And so I met with the manager and I was kind of joking, but I kind of wasn't. That happens the same way with Ticketmaster. If you get to a game and the game has already started, they still went full price for the tickets. We used to wait till like the third inning, at Old Crosley Field or Riverfront Stadium, and you get in for a walk because you knew they were going to have to eat the tickets. If you're doing this stuff on StubHub, they don't care because the market prices on all the other tickets are so high, they can eat it. They can eat the price, which is unbelievable. And then ultimately, you have a bunch of empty seats in an arena that should be full because all the tickets are gone. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. I don't. How do you fix it?
I don't know because we found out the hard way last year at a Las Vegas Golden Knights game. Hackers have also become part of the equation because we bought tickets from a reputable brand out there, from a regular ticket dealer, and they never were delivered. And Clayton kept checking, my son kept checking every half hour. They'd say, "Oh, we're looking into it. We'll find out what happened." They finally admit when the game has already started. They finally admit, well, these weren't legitimate tickets. I don't know how they got on our site. They gave them their money back, but somebody had hacked their way in there and completed this fake transaction right under the noses of one of these ticket brokers. So it's just fraught with peril until you have those on your phone. I mean, you don't feel secure about it.
Even then, you don't feel.
Even then, you worry
you don't know what you got.
Yeah, the guy scans and goes, "Yeah, these don't scan."
I've had that
happen
there.
to me.
I've had that happen to me too at Rickwood Classic. We actually bought tickets for that St. Louis Cardinals game, and the tickets we got were fake. And they went and scanned and said, "I'm sorry, there's no good." And it was out $175. It's like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh my gosh!
So yeah, that is another one of the situations where, and I'll be honest with you, I used to love having the ticket stubs, man. I used to collect all my stickers.
Oh, I've got a great collection of ticket stubs. No such thing now.
That should be a business. Kipper and Tony should start a business where you can actually buy the tickets that you actually buy for all these different events in hard copy or something, or getting them at the front. I pay another $5 for the ticket. Maybe that should be the surcharge. You actually get the ticket in your hand. It was funny because when we walked out of the AAC Saturday, they said, "Would you like to come back for the women's championship game?" They were letting people leave and come back.
Wow.
They weren't letting you do that between games 3 and 4. You had to stay the entire time, and the tickets you had were good for both sessions. And so I walked out, and as soon as I walked out, I said, "I got two for the ladies tonight." And of course, the tickets were free, and my son started laughing, but he held on to the tickets just because it was kind of cool. I said, "You don't know if this is going to be a 6 or 7 overtime game, and you can sit there and say, listen, I had tickets for that women's game back in 2026 at the BJCC." The ultimate thing is, and I know how much you love seeing concerts. I love seeing concerts too. I've been really, really blessed, and I will never complain. But I've seen more free concerts than most people ever see in their life.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I was super blessed. I never paid for any tickets, even when I wasn't doing the radio thing. I always knew somebody that could get me backstage or whatever. And so I've been super blessed. So I will never complain. But that being said, like the AC/DC concert coming up in August, I want to take my son, and this is just a very special moment for me because he's never seen a classic rock concert, and they're wanting $650 of tickets. And it shouldn't be the point where you have to figure out how you're going to pay for your tickets. Or, the other thing is, they have flex pay now. Seriously, flex pay for concert tickets. What are we doing? What are we doing?
So you can finance your tickets?
When you can finance your tickets now in 4 easy payments of $225.
And I'm sure there's no interest fee tacked on with that.
No, and I'm like, what are we doing? So now it's going to take me 4 or 5 months to pay for a pair of concert tickets. It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable. And I'm not a Kid Rock fan. I mean, Kid Rock is kind of a misnomer in the music world. He's had some commercial success. He's now become this right wing kind of spokesman guy. But he made a lot of sense yesterday. He was on one of those news programs in the morning, and he's saying, "Look, I'm a performer. I don't have any say so in how much My tickets are going to be what they're going to charge for my show. I don't have any input on what arena I'm going to play. They tell the performer all that. And if the
Mhm.
performer says, I don't want to play that arena and I don't want you charging $700 a ticket for my show, they'll say, well, good luck to you.
Yeah.
They-
Then you're not getting, you're paid $125,000 to play tonight there, Kid Rock.
Exactly.
Because I
Exactly.
mean,
You play by their rules or you don't play.
we,
And all this really blew up, Tony, just a couple of years ago. And this is another sad statement. I hate to always be beating down Congress, but good grief, they deserve to be beaten down. And this is not Democrat, Republican, this is on both sides. Remember about 3 or 4 years ago, Taylor Swift was going on the big tour and tickets were like $10,000 to see her in like Columbus, Ohio. It's just ridiculous. And a lot of these guys had teenage daughters or young women daughters, and they, Daddy, I want to get tickets to Taylor Swift. And these guys did not have the juice to even get congressmen to get tickets. And remember, somebody caused a big hubbub about it. They brought it up and drafted some kind of bill in the House to start this kind of movement. And then all of a sudden, that just disappeared. And Tony, guess how it disappeared? The way everything is adjudicated in Congress, they got their pockets filled up by these pirates that saying, look, you don't need to make such a big deal about it. Here's 2 tickets to Taylor Swift.
If they can't afford to buy tickets, they're not going to use them anyway. They're selling out, so everyone's got their tickets. They're happy.
So they
right?
bought bought their way out of that trouble, or this might have been solved 5 years ago.
And that would have saved a lot of people a lot of money between now and then. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's just ridiculous.
It's funny, guy. I go back. Do you remember the Auburn Oregon game, the national championship game? This was the first time where I was like, wait a minute, something's not right here, because we have a local ticket guys, ATIX, who do a lot of stuff with Alabama football.
Yeah,
and I know Steve, I know Dan, and those guys are really good guys. They've been in business for a long time. They do business right. They're in the middle of all this stuff, trying to figure out how to get tickets for different things. They're having to wheel and deal with all these little because they used to do it right. And I still can't believe they're in business, but that's why, because they do business right. But I remember they did ticket packages, and they weren't the only ones. There were several of them out there. They did ticket packages, travel packages, and couldn't deliver on the Auburn, Oregon tickets. Do you remember that? And I can't remember what exactly happened, but I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute, you've got tickets for the game, and now they're telling you that they ran out of tickets, like they overpromised and under-delivered. And I'm like, how is that even possible? Because how can you sell something that you don't have? And that was at that point. When was that? 2014?
I'm right around there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think to myself. I thought at that moment in time, I was like, something's not right. We're selling tickets that we don't even have in our hands. And people were buying airline tickets. They were already out there, and all of a sudden they're being told, hey, by the way, your tickets didn't come through. They got their money back, but you don't fly all the way out to LA to find out you don't have a damn ticket to the game.
Yeah, there's no customer service. I mean, the customer, just look at those email exchanges. The customers are buffoons. We've got the greatest. It's like the wagon in the Old West that rolled into town. This snake oil will cure every ill you have. Give us your $8 or probably 80 cents or whatever. But they're the snake oil salesmen of our era, and there are all kinds of abuses. Of course, the pharmaceutical people right now should be getting busted by all these ridiculous spots you got to endure. My favorite right now, Tony, I listen to Pandora a lot, and there's this commercial comes on, and this guy goes, my schizophrenia is making it very difficult to feel like me. And I'm going, well, no wonder, dude, you're 17 different people. And he's pimping for some drug that's supposed to help this situation. But it's so ridiculous because you can't go buy that at the drugstore. You've got to go ask your doctor about so-and-so.
Now they got pharmaceuticals for animals. They're doing dog pharmaceuticals.
That's huge. So, I mean, there's so much of this scam crap going on in the country right now. All the pharmaceuticals are buying all these big ads and advertising campaigns on the networks and all these program distributors because they're basically buying their influence. Once again, we're back to Congress, where the big pharmaceuticals are. That's how they spread the money around to all these different branches, because they're advertising. It 50, 60, or 75% of it is disclaimers about what it's going to do to
Oh
you.
my gosh. The weight loss thing has been the biggest scam in the
Oh,
world. And I know
unbelievable.
people that were willing to pay $1,200 right off the bat. I'm like, if you just wait a few months, it's going to end up being like 25 bucks. It'll come out. There's going to be generics. There's going to be a million of them, because right now there's like 16,000 different ways for ED now. There used to be
I
now,
know.
and it's all marketing. I'm watching these Blue Chew commercials. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I could actually get the woman if I eat. This is different than Cialis. This is different than Viagra. This is Blue Chew. This is, I'm like, seriously, it's the same exact thing, and you're getting enough for 88 cents a piece. So it is it
Yeah.
is a market. I hope we change it to the point where we still get a chance to go see some great concerts, because I really do,
Yeah.
and that's why I do still. I mean, believe it or not, I like watching minor league baseball. I like watching the games. The other thing, and I'll say it right now, the BJCC is robbing you blind. Make sure you eat before you get down there. I got a
Oh.
popcorn, I got a pretzel, and 2 drinks, and it was $29. $29 for a popcorn, a pretzel, and 2 drinks. It was outrageous. It's a ripoff. I told my son, I said, listen, honey, I love you. And I said, I like to provide for you. I like to show you good times. I said, but if you're hungry, we are not eating at the BJCC. We're not eating there. We're not eating anything run by the BJCC. Go to Bartow Arena and you get yourself 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorns, and a drink, and get that for like $10. And that's
Yeah,
great.
it's so
I appreciate you,
criminal.
AB. It is
I mean,
a rip off. $9 for a smart water. It's
that's
ridiculous.
just ridiculous. I am the biggest fan of free enterprise, free market, capitalistic society, but you've got to make these people play by the rules. You
Yep.
cannot allow these strongholds, and the BJCC is just another example of that. Once you're
And they
in
don't
there,
take cash. And they
Yeah.
don't take cash.
oh, yeah, no cash. Once you're in there, and if you're thirsty or hungry for your 4 hour stay, what are you going to do? You've got no alternative. You've got to pay the ransom for a $15 hot dog and all that. I mean, it's just outrageous what they're getting away with. And gouge, baby, gouge should be the national motto right
Well,
now.
it's going to be real interesting. Let's fix this. You and I have been to enough concerts, enough sporting events, probably thousands between the two of us.
Yeah.
So what could they do? I mean, what could they do to save us a ticket price? Have a percentage that could be over the actual ticket
Yeah.
price itself, or and you can't go any higher than that. Then how do
Yeah.
you regulate that? I don't know.
You got to cap that. You got to cap that percentage. And if you look at the breakdown, if you buy tickets, I'm sure you have, it's got that. It's called a handling and processing fee. That's the 20% BS.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't cost them 5 cents more to process a $20 ticket than it does a $2,500 ticket, but the fee is based on the ticket price, which is just criminal. And then there's a whole list of other crap that is not even defined. $8.92, $14.15, tax $29.18. I mean, it's just they just pile it on. There's got to be restrictions on the fees on tickets. I mean, free market, for the Super Bowl, that's going to be a $5,000 or $10,000 ticket because it's in that much demand, and corporate America is involved in that. There's some events you can't save. But the biggest change that has to be made is there's got to be some kind of a system where all of these ticket brokers don't have the first opportunity to gobble up every available ticket.
That's very important. That's right.
And that's the key fundamental of the whole thing, because that takes away the consumer's ability to, like you said, it used to be if you were determined to go to a game, you could make the sacrifices. I just saw a thing the other day on an old Big Bang Theory thing that they're trying to get tickets to Comic Con, and they're on 4, 3, 2, 1, dial, and they're all dialing, and they're trying to get in and get on the queue. And I mean, that was just as recently as 8 or 10 years ago. That was still in play. That's not in play anymore because the only people that have the tickets, you have to go through their sites because they are in the bed with these providers, promoters. Live Nation, Ticketmaster is the granddaddy of them all. But all of these partners they have, they control every single solitary ticket, and it's got to stop.
Well, and I think, really too, remember all this stuff really blew up right after COVID. And we weren't allowed to have concerts. You couldn't be at concerts. We didn't have concerts for 2 years. And sometimes I wonder, because sometimes it reminds me of the beach. I remember when they had the BP oil spill, and people were like, "No one's going to be going to the beach for like the next 10 years because there's going to be oil all over the place." I said, "No." I said, "It's going to be 1 year. 1 year, they'll clean it up. You won't even see it, and everyone will miss the beach so damn bad that they will pay whatever it takes to get back in there." I remember in 2000, like the year before the oil spill, I got like a condo for the entire week for like $1,300.
Wow.
And then 1 year, obviously it was dirty, it was clean. We still went down, we just didn't go in the water. And then the next year it was like $3,200. And I'm like, what in the world? For the same place, the same exact place, charging 30, because everyone couldn't wait to get back down the beach. They were willing to go slop around in oil like a doggone, like a blue herring, and they didn't give a shit. They were going to go ahead and slop around the oil. They didn't care to be at the beach. And so sometimes I wonder, because everyone talked about COVID was going to be the death of the live show, that we weren't going to have live shows anymore. And well, that kind of blew up in our face, because I think a lot of people missed the live shows so much, including the likes of Stevie Nicks, and people didn't even want to do shows anymore. And then we realized, oh my gosh, this may never happen again. And now they can't stop doing shows. Now they want to do shows every single night. So, and a lot of those people were out there.
I know we got to wrap it up, but here's my advice to anybody who's really desirous to go to a game or something and avoid some of that. There is still such a thing as people, and I'll use Alabama as an example. My longtime broadcast partner and at times my kind of my true love. She wanted to come to the Alabama-Georgia game 2 years ago. We were lucky enough to see an ad on Facebook from people that actually were in the Tide Pride organization that they buy their tickets for the whole year. Season ticket people. If you can deal with somebody who has season tickets, people always have circumstances where they, one game they've got a wedding or they just can't go. We were able to buy 4 seats, great seats for the Alabama-Georgia game. I said we. I bought.
That's coming from Daddy. Yeah.
I bought 4 tickets for Terry and myself, and for Clayton, his girlfriend Brooke. And we had great seats. We had access to the food thing, which was a big buffet for Tide Pride members and all that. There was no fees. It was $4,000, which seemed outrageous, but in the scheme of things, if I'd have tried to buy tickets through StubHub or one of those, a $4,000 ticket right away, that's an $800 tack on per ticket. So 4 tickets for that, $5,200 each. Do the math. I mean, it would have been just ridiculous.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I long for the scalper. Well, we always thought the scalper was a bum. We always thought he was a dirtbag. He was worse than a drug dealer, dude. I mean, the scalper, and they used to bust scalpers sometimes. Remember they used to bust scalpers? I mean, you had to be really careful with a scalper. Now it's like, give me a break.
There was an old policeman in Atlanta who wore a fur hat. We called him the Cossack, and he would like wander around. He was eyeballing us a lot of times because he thought we were hustling tickets, but we weren't trying to scalp them. But the scalper always was in danger of being arrested, because it's illegal to do that, to demand above face value prices.
The scalper was the man. If you had a good scalper, you had a good guy.
But at least that was America. That was free enterprise and free market, because the scalper's pricing was based on supply and demand.
Yep.
The scalper could ask for
every one of these ticket places are scalpers now. They're just doing it legally.
You got down to like 5 minutes before first pitch or 5 minutes before face-off, and the scalper's got a handful of tickets. All of a sudden, that price went way down.
Yeah,
he's wanting to move them then. So at least that was based on free enterprise and free markets. This is a monopoly. This is a disgrace. This is not free anything. This is gouge, baby, gouge, and it needs to stop.
Two great shows on Tony Curre Radio, the Keefer and Kurre Show. And of course, right before this, it was Need to Know. Check it out. They're available on every major podcast. We're available everywhere on every major podcast platform. Check it out. And of course, you can also see Kip and myself along with our cast of idiots every Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. We'll get after it as we get ready for March Madness, baby. This election Sunday came out. I cannot wait. It's going to be a fantastic week, and I will see you this weekend, my friend.
I'm already mad in March, Tony, because it's glaringly apparent that the conference tournaments mean absolutely nothing.
Yes.
Everybody is on the same line that Joe Lunardi had them on when those started. It doesn't matter if you get eliminated in the first game or you win the championship. It means nothing. It's a cash grab. That's my next rant. Stay tuned.
Yeah, even Miami of Ohio got in.
Good grief. Arkansas wins the freaking SEC tournament, and they were projected as a 4 seed. Guess what? They're a 4 seed. It means absolutely nothing.
I'll see you this weekend, man.
All right. Look forward to it.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curre Radio.